So, welcome back to the deep dive, everyone. Today we're getting into something that honestly affects literally all of us.
Yeah, whether you realize it or not.
Exactly. So, our mission today is to unpack this really fascinating source document called When Saving is No Longer Enough. And it dives into these hidden financial realities of modern life, specifically looking at developing economies like Indonesia.
Right. And it's basically this reflective text aimed at, professionals, young families, even novice investors. And what it does is it completely challenges conventional personal finance wisdom.
Yeah?
It highlights these silent, sort of creeping threats to our purchasing power.
Yeah, creeping is the right word. Because, okay, think about a traditional savings account like a leaky bucket, right?
That's a good way to look at it.
You feel great watching the water pour in from like, that's your monthly salary hitting the account.
Right. You see the number go up.
You see the number go up, but you don't realize there's this tiny, almost invisible hole in the bottom of the bucket, and it's just slowly draining your actual wealth away.
Yeah, and connecting this directly to you listening right now, whether you're meticulously prepping for your financial future or, honestly, if you just want to understand why your weekly grocery bill feels so much heavier lately, this deep dive is really going to change how you view the numbers in your bank account.
Totally. Because it's about how that leak in the bucket actually happens without us even noticing.
Mm.
It's this huge contrast between our outdated beliefs and, well, the new financial reality.
Yeah, because the traditional financial playbook used to be so simple, right?
Work hard, save money.
Exactly. Work hard, get your monthly salary, put a chunk of it in a safe bank account, live frugally, and, you'll be fine. That was the deal.
That was the social contract.
Right. But the world is changing way faster than anyone expected. The costs of living, of education, of property, they're all rising aggressively.
Yeah, and crucially, this happens without any warning. Like the source points out, you never get a notification on your phone from your bank saying, hey, just so you know, the value of your money decreased by 5% this year.
No, the nominal number stays exactly the same.
Right. But okay, let's unpack this for a second, because my immediate reaction, and I think a lot of people might be thinking this, is if the cost of living is rising even slowly, shouldn't our incomes naturally rise over time to catch up and balance the whole system out?
Well, what's fascinating here is how the source tackles that exact assumption. The core argument is that income increases frequently, like almost always, fail to keep pace with the drop in purchasing power.
Because of how businesses operate.
Yeah, exactly. Think about it. When a business sees their cost go up, say rent or raw materials, they raise prices immediately to protect their margins. But they don't raise salaries immediately.
Right. Salaries are sticky. You negotiate them, what, once a year?
Exactly. Maybe once a year, maybe every 2 years. So prices are dynamic, changing daily, but your wages are sticky. You're always playing catch up.
Always playing catch up.
And why this really matters, and the text stresses this, is that because it's a slow burn, people just don't feel the urgency to adapt. Not until they're already way behind.
Wow. Okay, so that perfectly sets up the root cause here.
Yeah.
Because that failure of income to catch up leads directly to what the text calls the structural vulnerability of the local currency itself.
Yeah, this is where it gets really real.
Right. So focusing on the Indonesian rupiah, and the text uses this as a proxy for a lot of developing nation currencies, it reveals this harsh truth. It is literally not designed to be a long-term global store of value.
No, it's not. Over long periods, developing currencies face this constant, relentless pressure against major currencies, like the US dollar or the Singapore dollar.
Right. And I think people hear currency exchange rates and they just zone out.
Oh, totally. It sounds like Wall Street jargon.
Yeah, it's like the weather. Most people only check the exchange rate when they're planning a trip abroad.
Yeah.
They're completely unaware that it's secretly dictating the price of, like, the apples at their local grocery store today.
Yeah, and that requires a major shift in critical thinking for the listener. By tying local purchasing power to global currency markets, the source proves that you cannot isolate your personal finances from the global economy.
Okay, wait, walk me through that. Because if I go to a local market in Jakarta and
Mhm.
buy a locally grown piece of fruit
Right.
from a local vendor, where does the US dollar come into play? Like,
Hmm.
how does a global exchange rate hit my completely domestic transaction?
Okay, it hits the supply chain.
Ah, right.
Yeah, think about how that piece of fruit actually got to the market. It traveled on a truck, right? That truck is powered by diesel fuel.
which is priced globally.
Exactly. Globally traded commodity priced in US dollars. And to grow that fruit, the
Mhm.
farmer likely used industrial fertilizers. The base chemicals for those are imported and priced in dollars.
Oh, wow.
Even the refrigeration system keeping the produce fresh runs on imported electronic components.
So if the local currency depreciates by, say, 5% against the dollar,
Then the cost of that fuel, that fertilizer, and those components just went up by 5% for the local businesses.
and they have to pass that on to me.
They have no choice. It goes straight to the consumer at the checkout counter. This isn't just an abstract number on a screen. A weakening currency directly impacts daily life.
It drives up the cost of gadgets, overseas education, vehicles, even basic food items.
Everything.
So because these currency pressures and, inflation, because they operate so silently, they fundamentally change what a financial disaster actually looks like.
Yes.
Which brings us to this incredible quote from the source. It says, "Crisis doesn't always come with a loud noise."
That is such a powerful line.
It really is. Instead of this dramatic overnight economic collapse, modern crises are more like a slow convergence of factors.
Right.
It's basic goods going up a few cents. It's a slow, steady increase in layoffs. It's dropping purchasing power. And then you layer rising political uncertainty on top of all that.
Yeah. Yeah. And then you add global shocks. I mean, the pandemic proved that jobs can vanish instantly and the economy can just halt.
Absolutely.
Global events wars, shifting interest rates by foreign central banks, stock market volatility, they inevitably hit developing countries incredibly hard.
So here's where it gets really interesting to me. We're conditioned by movies, right? We think of a financial crisis as Wall Street traders screaming on a floor in a sudden stock market crash.
Right, the 2008 aesthetic.
Yeah, exactly. But the author argues it's more like a slow fade.
Yeah.
So are we looking for the wrong warning signs?
If we connect this to the bigger picture, yes, absolutely. We're looking for an explosion when we should be looking for a leak. When all these multiple slow-moving factors combine, liquidity becomes vastly more important than maintaining a certain lifestyle.
Okay, define liquidity in this context for the listener.
It just means having access to cash or assets that can be quickly converted to cash without losing value. The false sense of security provided by a single paycheck is the biggest blind spot people have.
Because if you lose that one paycheck,
You have nothing. The ultimate danger isn't just losing money on an investment, it's losing the ability to survive. Because people realize, usually way too late, that they relied entirely on a single source of income.
or one type of asset.
Right. And if that one thing fails during a systemic shock, they're trapped.
Man, that is so true. And since the quiet crisis renders traditional saving and single income reliance so dangerous, the source pivots to a solution, which is basically a complete redefinition of what financial freedom actually means.
Yeah, and it's important to clarify what it isn't first. The text explicitly states this is not a guide to getting rich quick
Right, it's not about becoming a billionaire.
or chasing the highest possible returns on some risky crypto bet. Financial freedom is so often mistakenly associated with living in extreme luxury.
Like the private jets on Instagram.
Exactly. But the author argues that true financial resilience is about protecting the value of your hard work. It's about securing your family and, frankly, having peace of mind.
Yeah, when hard times hit, liquid assets are way more important than prestige. Cash flow is more important than your public image.
Diversification is more important than speculation.
Ultimately, sleeping soundly at night is far more valuable than temporary high-risk profits. So, what does this all mean? To me, it sounds like we need to stop playing flashy financial offense and start playing solid defense.
I love that.
Right. Like, it's less about buying the sports car to impress your neighbors and more about building a fortress that can actually weather a storm.
That's a perfect analogy, and this raises an important question about our values. We live in this world of intense information overload and social media flexing.
Oh, the flexing is everywhere.
It really is. Prioritizing peace of mind over visible wealth is a radical shift. It's a highly rational form of critical thinking, but it goes against the grain of society.
Yeah, it's like in Indonesia, they have that concept of pencitraan, the intense curation of your public image. You're intentionally choosing to ignore that pressure. You're building a hidden buffer against invisible threats instead of visibly signaling success to strangers.
Exactly. You're asking, what can my family survive, instead of what can I show off to the world?
That's incredibly powerful. So, just to summarize our journey today,
Yeah.
we went from realizing that traditional savings actually lose value silently.
The leaky bucket.
Right, the leaky bucket, to understanding how currency pressures import inflation right into our local grocery aisles.
Yep.
Then we recognized the quiet crisis.
Yeah.
Not a crash, but a slow fade. And finally, redefining wealth not as luxury, but as true resilience.
Yeah. And to ground this, the text actually poses a few self-reflection questions, and I want to pose them directly to you, listener.
Oh, I love these. Let's hear them.
Okay, first, is the value of your savings actually growing, or is it just the nominal amount going up while your purchasing power drops?
That's a tough one to face.
It is. Second, if living costs spike dramatically next month, are you safe? Can you absorb that without going into debt?
And the third one.
Third, are you relying entirely on a single source of income? Have you built any redundancy into your financial life?
Those questions really expose the gap between just feeling safe and actually being resilient.
They really do.
Well, I'm going to wrap up this deep dive with a final thought for you to chew on, building on everything we just discussed.
Go for it.
If traditional saving is essentially a guaranteed slow loss of your purchasing power due to inflation and currency pressure, does that mean keeping your money completely safe and uninvested in the bank is actually the riskiest financial move you can make today?
Oof. It really flips the whole definition of risk upside down, doesn't it?
It totally does. If the radar is broken, you don't just stand outside hoping the storm misses you. You reinforce the foundation. Thanks so much for joining us on this deep dive, everyone. Stay curious, and we'll see you on the next one.